Hey internet, well, a little bit of a break there since my last video. It's been a couple of weeks, and the reason for that has been the struggle on with the wiring on the 550. So, for the eagle-eyed amongst you, as I'm sure you'll have noticed, the 550 has gone. So it's away to TT Motorcycles, and Tom there is going to try and sort the wiring for me, so we can get the restoration back on track. Yeah, a bit frustrating. I got the I'll put a bit of video in to this this video. I'll put a bit of the part 2 of the wiring work into this video, and as you know, I'd swapped the loom out, did a side-by-side comparison of the loom. Everything looked really good. All the plugs that were still on the original loom appeared to be on the new or the replacement loom. As I say, that part number was right. Not too sure really. Anyway, so I connected it up, got a battery on it, nice fresh battery. Wired the alternator wires in as I'd had guidance from Michael last time. I'd also, as I said before, I got some parts diagrams from some of the, well, it wasn't so much parts diagrams, it was some photographs of some of the, like the igniter unit, so I could see what connectors were on the end of the igniter unit, so I could make sure I was connecting everything up as it should be. And I did all of that. There was still quite a few that were missing, but I think they were ancillaries like lights, flasher unit, that sort of thing. Turn the ignition on, not a sausage, nothing at all. So there's a limit to how much time I can waste really doing that. And I say waste because it's just not my skill set, you know. I'm just flailing around with the wiring, and it's boring for me, so it must be boring for you guys as well. And let's face it, we all just want to see it running, we want to see it back on the road, we want to see it, you know, registered as a vehicle of historic interest, so we don't need to have the tax or MOT on it anymore, and I just want to get out on it. It's like I say, ultimately, as long as it's on the road for summer, I will feel like I haven't failed in any respect. But, you know, sometimes you've just got to make a nod towards the fact that, you know, you can't just learn everything off the bat. You know, Tom and the people, I guess, who work for him are trained, time-served mechanics. They're doing this all the time and they know this stuff, whereas I'm DIY, and I've learnt it all as I've gone along. And, you know, I've rebuilt a number of bikes in my time. I think the first one I ever rebuilt was my original GPz550 D1 after I fell off it going to work one day. No, I was actually on the way home from work. Gosh, this is a number of years ago. I was on the way home from work, it was wet, I was coming down the hill. As you come down the hill, it sort of banks to the right and there's a set of traffic lights at the bottom. It was raining, I wasn't going very fast, and as I came round the hill, as I came round the curve of the road so I could see the traffic lights, there's some older gentleman sat there in a Ford Fiesta and the lights were on green, and I touched the brakes and whew, the back just went from under, the bike went from under me, and we went bouncing down the road and the bike wedged under the back of his Ford Fiesta. So I ended up having to do a full rebuild on that, and I repainted it. Everything was out, the frame, the lot. So, you know, I have been doing it for quite a while, on and off over the years, but from this, you know, the wiring was obviously not in a good state when I had the bike. The bike would run, but if you remember, you had to short across the starter solenoids to get it to run. Did get an ignition light, but that was it. There was nothing on the button. And I don't think anything else was working either, so it was in a real mess when I bought it, and I think probably that's part of the reason that the guy got rid of it, you know. And he didn't say that to me, but, you know, you really get to know a bike when you strip it down to its nuts and bolts, don't you? And there was quite a few things wrong with it. Anyway, so 550 TT Motorcycles, I've told them as well, or I've said, look, just have it for as long as you need to. to get it done. There's no rush on the work. I don't want them to prioritise it over their bread and butter stuff. You know, and as long as I know what it's going to cost as we're going along through the process, then that's fine. It's been sent with the old loom as well, or the old wiring harness as well, and then they can choose, you know, whatever they use, whether it's a bit of both, or, you know, the new one stays on or whatever. I really don't mind. I just want it back with an ignition light and a spark when you press the starter button, and then everything else will be fine. I'll do all the rest of the work, but we just need that fundamental wiring finished. So anyway, like I say, it's been a couple of weeks since we did a video. I'm really mindful of that, and I'm thinking, well, what can we do? It's still winter here. It's still not great. The weather's awful. I haven't been out on the bikes myself, you know, the 600 or the Transalp or anything. The little 400, which is up the corner, is waiting to get its MOT done. Just waiting for the weather to start warming up a little bit, and then I'll whip that down to the garage in Market Drayton and get that MOT'd, hopefully. But yeah, so that's all good. So I thought, well, what will we do? Or what should we do now? And I thought, well, the last purchase really was all of the parts and the two 400s, and one of the 400s being the track bike. So the carbs are off it at the moment. Let me just turn you around so you can have a bit of a look, and I can keep yakking on. So as you can see, the track bike, it's in a bit of a state, you know. It's not in great condition, but then, you know, what do you want for a track bike, I suppose? Just, that's better. Just change the camera focus there, so put it on a linear rather than narrow. Anyway, so yeah, the track bike, it's not in great condition. As I say, I used it as a bit of a parts bin when we were doing the 400 and getting that ready for MOT, so, you know, and I haven't really put anything back on again, so the tank's got loads of fuel in it. I put some of the fuel additive in it as well, so we can hopefully that fuel will be okay for getting it started. I have got some fuel in the garage, but not a great deal. I was going to get some yesterday, because I'm on holiday this week. I was going to get some yesterday, but I completely forgot all about it. So as you can see, lots of loose stuff under here. Lots of stuff not connected, no carbs on it at the moment. As you'll remember, we did the carb refurbishment, so we've got the carbs to go on. And let's just have a bit of a look round her. Yeah, so it's quite a bit of a jolly old mess. It's like saying I haven't done anything at all to it since we bought it, or since it came. Bit tatty. We've got the coolant bottle up here, and I don't know anything about prepping bikes ready for track days or racing them. You know, and this is absolutely Mickey's area of expertise, I would say. Let's just, and you know, there's obviously been certain things that have been done to the bike to make it compliant, I guess, with what's required when they're being raced or used on track days. It's like this under here. I can only think that's for catching any oil or liquid that might come out of the engine. My mate Dave, who does his track days on his R6, was telling me about the strict requirements for no coolant in the bikes. You can only, I think he said, and I mean, this might be wrong, so I might be completely wrong on this, but I'm sure he said you can only run them using distilled water, or you can only have distilled water in them, because they don't want to have, or they don't want to make any greasy stains on the track at all. So if that's the case, maybe the reason that sort of tray is stuck onto the bottom of the belly pan is to catch any oil or any leaks that might occur when the bikes are going round. More bits there. Like I say, I've been a bit sloppy really. I've really I've not done anything with it at all. We've not tried to get it going. Nothing at all. The only thing I did do when it arrived, I stuck the key in the ignition and prodded the starter, and yes, the starter motor was spinning the engine over nicely, good and fast, no spark at all. If you remember, Mickey did say that the track bike was a devil to get going, or he said it was difficult to start, and he's got one of those rollers that I said we were going to get round to building, and I'm sure we still might get round to building it. It's not really at the forefront of my jobs at the moment. We might well get round to doing it. We've still got the exhaust to make for the Z550. I'm quite excited about getting that back, because when we do get it back, it'll be in a stage where it'll virtually be running, and then I've just got to build it back up, or it'll certainly be ready to get it running. And I know that the bike was running fine before the strip down, and by that I mean I'm not talking about the electrics or anything, but when I shorted out the starter solenoid, the bike started up relatively easily, and the engine ran really well, very smooth, no misfires, sounded great. Even that Zephyr exhaust, even with the Zephyr exhaust on it, it sounded pretty good. So yeah, we've got to get a new exhaust pipe made for it. Wayne was asking me about that again the other day when we were chatting, and we will definitely be getting that made. I just need to get it running. So now TT Motorcycles have got it. When they start the work on it, great. I'm sure if it's a month before we get it back, I'm not bothered, because I know that when we get it back, it'll at least work. And then at the worst, I've just got to sort the lights out and stuff like that. So yeah, okay, so let's have a bit of a tinker with the track bike. I've absolutely no idea what I'm going to do with it. Should I take it for a track day? I don't know. I mean, it's well tatty, but I imagine if Mickey's had anything to do with it, I bet it will go quite well. So yeah, let's crack on. We'll start by getting it a bit stripped down, get some panel work off it. Tidy up under here. I'm not going to put anything back, I'm going to leave it as it is, but let's get the carbs back on it. I'll take the battery off, get a bit more charge in that. I've got a fresh one charged up anyway, and I've got a great big leisure battery now that my friend Wayne, Noble Craft Brewing, what he donated to me, so that's been on charge now for a week or so on a trickle charger, so I've got something we can jump off if the battery goes flat on this. But it's like I say, I've got a fresh battery on the bench, so we've got plenty to go at. Okay, enough waffle. Like I say, I do apologise for the delay, but winter, it's a bit of a rubbish time really. Oh, and I recently incorporated my new business, so I've now got a fully functional IT business, a limited company that I have to spend time on as well. And hey, like I said before, you've got to make hay while the sun's shining. So if I get customers, then they get prioritised right up the list. And all of that goes in hand with me reducing my hours at the law firm where I work at the moment. So that becomes a part-time job from the 1st of April. So I can concentrate on my own IT company, which is very, very small, very, very small concern. But hopefully it'll be all right. And the bikes, I haven't got enough time for the bikes, so we will have from April. So the amount of videos that we start churning out should go up. I'm on the hunt. So I'm on the hunt for another Z550. I'd really like another 1981. If I could find a GPz550 D1 that's absolutely on its knees up the corner of somebody's garage, I'll have it. But I'm not paying silly money for it because they cost a lot of money to restore. So I'm looking for something of that ilk, an 81 Z550 or an 81 GPz550 D1, and again it will go as I'll redo it in the firecracker red, and it'll be another nice bike. There's things there's already things that I will do differently on the next restoration. Anyway, enough waffle. Let's crack on with this and we'll catch up at the end. Thank you very much for sticking with me. I hope you're enjoying the videos. drop me some comments. You know, what should I do with this? Should we track day it? I don't know. I'm up for anything really. Me and my mate Wayne are going for a off-road trail riding day in Shropshire, up the Shropshire Hills, with a company called Adventure Rider UK. So a bit of a shout out to those guys. I know I haven't booked it yet if you do happen to watch this video, but I am definitely going to get around to booking it this week whilst I'm off. So yeah, that we'll do the video in of that as well, so that'll be really good. That'll be early May sometime. So we've got that coming up. Do I do a track day? Like I say, Dave really wants me to go and have a bit of a laugh with him. I think that'd be good fun. But you know, if you've got any ideas on what we should be doing with this, strip it for parts, sell it, you know, sell it as it is, sell it as a track bike, sell it as, I don't know, bits and, you know, spares or repair, I don't know. Drop me a comment and let me know. Great, let's crack on. Okay, I just thought it was worth having a look at the carbs before we stick them on. As you know, these are the carbs that I refurbished a couple of 3 videos ago, and that's bent. I have to bend that back. So they're untested. The bike hasn't been running with these on. Everything looks good. Everything's nice and clean. So there's no reason why they shouldn't run, but we just don't know at the moment. So, but one thing I'd say as well is normally you would have the vacuum pipe. It's not unusual for these two to be blocked off, or they would all be linked, and then there'd be a T-piece coming off here, and you'd have a pipe coming off there going to the fuel valve, the fuel tap, to give it the vacuum so the fuel flows. Well, this hasn't got that arrangement on. As you'll see in a bit, the fuel, it's just got a great big fuel line coming out of the tank with a big lock-off switch, valve. No vacuum line required. So these two, obviously these two here are blocked off. These weren't. Now, they might well have been. It's ages since I took the carbs off, and I can't remember, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'm just gonna. So I've just stuck one pipe between them, so that you know it's the same as blocking them off really, and we'll just see what happens. I've got to reconnect everything else, so that's no problem. But yeah, I just thought it was worth pointing out, because somebody might say, hang on, you haven't got a vacuum pipe off those carbs. Well, the tank isn't requiring one, so we'll just go with what was there originally. Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's the carbs back on, pipe work, fuel line is connected, we've put a fully recharged battery back on, and we've got the all important fire extinguisher in case it goes wrong all over again. Anyway, so the pin's out on that, we've got an ignition light. Got a couple of drips from the centre 2 carburetors. It's probably just sticking float bowls, but I've turned the fuel off for now, so that hopefully the fuel bowls are right, or they're at least full. We'll have some fuel in there. The only thing I'm unsure about is to whether the HT leads are on the right way around or not. You know, whether the coils are going to the right. I think coil number 1 is 2 and 3, coil number 2 is 1 and 4, but I might be wrong. Okay, so hold tight, let's give it a go. Bit promising. So that was a good result. Do you think that's a misfire? Do you think I've got maybe the HT leads wrong the wrong way around? I mean, it fired up a lot easier than I was expecting it to. And we've got a bit of fuel dripping out the bottom of the carb, so I'm not too sure what that is. Could be float bowl, it could be the float heights, maybe. I'm not too sure. It's not pouring out, but it is dripping. I've turned the fuel off, and it is still coming out a little bit, but I imagine that's the residual fuel of what's in there from when the fuel was actually on. bit spitty. Okay, let's go and research the HT lead configuration. So I checked the HT leads and they're on right. It's running really well. I just think it's a bit of dodgy fuel. I mean, I put that fuel stabiliser in there, but this fuel has been in the tank for a couple of years, so it's very likely, but just bad fuel. Probably could do with a set of plugs in it and new set of HT leads, but you know, it. So you can hear it sort of misfiring. I don't know whether it's misfiring. It's just spitting a bit. I don't think it's it needs a new, it needs a good run. I don't think it's a case of that. I think it's bad fuel. There's a lot of fuel in the tank, and like I say, I mean, I found another sticker. And I guess that's from when Mickey last took it or on the track. It's bogging down a bit. I'll show you when I rev it, it really does bog down, which is another reason I think it's fuel rather than anything else. So a bit of popping. I think it's one of those times where you could overanalyze it really. I could go looking for a raft of problems with the carbs, which I don't think there is. The carbs, the floats have obviously settled down now. They're not dripping. The fuel's on now. There's no leaks coming from the carbs at all. So really pleased with the refurbishment work I did on the carburetors. That seems to have been a real good result. But I could start thinking, it needs this and it needs that, when all it need is a fresh tank of fuel. So I do need to go and get some more fuel. I'm not going to do it today though. I'm just really pleased we've got it running. I have to be honest, I think the engine may even be a bit nicer than the one that's for sale, or the one that will be for sale shortly. So it's certainly a good bike. I mean, I know it's as rough as a bear's arse, isn't it? I mean, look at the paintwork. It's got splatters of stuff all over it. It's really rough and ready, but I bet it goes like the flipping clappers. So yeah, what am I going to do with it? Don't know. Still haven't made any decisions at all. I'm just really pleased because Mickey did sort of tell me it was really difficult to get started, and considering the carbs were empty, having just been refurbished, it started after only a few prods of the button. I hadn't started it before it was you saw that on film. So what's the next step for the bike? I think what I'll do is, I'm not going to do it now, but I will drain the fuel out completely. I'll need to go to the garage and get a couple of ready cans full of fuel, and we'll stick a ready can, or we'll certainly stick a gallon in here and run that through the carbs and see if it does make any difference. If it doesn't, then I'll get a set of plugs, a set of plug leads. I'm assuming there's nothing wrong with the coil. I've got some spare coils anyway. As you saw, I pinched one of the HT leads off the bike for go on the sale 400, we'll refer to it as that now. So I had to go rummaging and I found another coil with some HT leads on it. so I nicked them to put on this. So they're all a bit mishmash. I'm not suggesting that that is definitely what the problem is, but you know, for the sake of the cost of a set of plugs, a set of leads, and you know, maybe just say some new fuel, it could be all right. I'm really pleased with the bike. So what shall I do with it? You let me know. Drop me a comment in the section below and we'll see. Right, okay, so I think that's about it for this video. Thanks very much for sticking with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I don't know, maybe you want to buy the track bike. If you do, drop me a message. Maybe we can come to an arrangement. I really haven't decided what to do with it. So, yeah, thank you very much for sticking with me. If you've been enjoying the videos, please give me a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already, please subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell icon, and you'll get notifications every time I upload new content. Now now that spring is here officially, 1st of March, hopefully it's going to start warming up a little and we can get back on track. I'm now going to go and do my video and get that uploaded, but I'll also be scouring eBay as well to see if I can find the next bike to buy. We need to get a nice Z550 in the pipe. So I hope you've been enjoying the videos. Please drop your comments in the section below. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much, Internet. Bye.